Okay, Year 9. It occurred to me that after the lesson that some of you didn't understand what we were doing in regards to increase and decrease by percentages and using the unitary method. So I'm going to go over the work again, and if you had trouble, watch this and then try the questions on your own. I'm not going to do all the questions. You need to do some on your own. Otherwise, you'll just be copying my work. Now, remember, first of all, a percentage and a decimal and a fraction are all the same thing. A percentage is a fraction out of 100. A decimal is a decimal out of a tenth, that spot, out of a hundredth, that spot, out of a thousandth, that spot. So when you're dealing with fractions, decimals, and percentages, you need to move quickly between them. So you need to be able to change a percentage to a decimal by moving the decimal point, or a decimal to a percentage by moving the decimal point. And it's going to make it much easier if you can do that. So if, for example, I had 70%, that equals, the decimal point is here. I'm going to move it 2 spots because I'm going to divide it by 100. 1, 2. So that it becomes 0.7. Whereas 5%, which is one a lot of kids got stuck on, the decimal point is here. I'm going to move it once, and I'll move it again. I've got to indicate the place value, so I've got to put a 0 there. So it's 0.05%. If I wrote 0.5, well, that's 50%. It's a half. You need to be good at moving between decimals, percentages, and fractions. And if you're not, you need to practice. Okay, let's move into increase, decrease. Now, I'm only going to show you the one method, the method that I would prefer you to use. If you want to go and do the other method, there's another video on the website that you can have a look at. So to increase by a percentage, here's what I want you to do. Look at the percentage. For example, here, this one, I'm going to increase $50 by 5. So I go 5 plus 100 is 105%. And I want you to do that in your head. You need to be able to add the percentage to 100. And then you write it as a decimal, 1.05 times, and then you go the amount, $50. And you get your calculator out, and you go 1.05 times 50, 52.50. And you've now increased 50 by 5%. Because what you've done is you've added the percent to the whole. I want to do another one, and then you see if you can do it. So have a look at this one. Increase 35 by 8%. Well, 100 plus 8 is 108. I do that in my head. Now, 108% as a decimal is 1.08. What's the amount? 35. And again, I go to my calculator, 1.08 times 35, 37.8. And this is in minutes. That's increasing by a percentage. Add the percentage to the amount and then multiply. Well, what about decrease? To decrease by a percentage. Well, where'd that go? Did I just lose all that? Well, there it is. That's a bit weird. By a percentage. So over here, what did we do? We add the percent to 100, write as a decimal, then multiply by the amount. Okay. To decrease, well, what have we got here? The first two. Decrease 24.5 by 12%. Well, we subtract it. Now, this is a bit harder. You might need to use your calculator. 12% from 100 is, so this is A, B, C, D. What's this? E? E. 12% from 100 is 88. 88% as a decimal is 0.88. And I just multiply by the amount. I take the percentage off, 24.5. 24.5. Again, I go to my calculator. 0.88 times 24.5, 21.56. And what was it in? Kilograms. Let's have a look at F. I need to take, oh sorry, that was an increase. Here are the decrease down here. We'll assume that was a decrease. I'm going to do E here. I'm going to take 12.8% from $90. So 12.8, 100, this is hard, 100 minus 12.8. Well, that's 87.2. Oops, don't want to abuse the equal sign. Got angry at students. That equals 87.2. Let's double check. 100 minus 12.8. 87.2. As a decimal, that's 0.872 times, what's the amount? $90. 90. Still got that on my calculator. So I'll just go times 90. Well, that's not right. I must have stuffed that up. Remember, you got to know what it's like. Oh, because I still had it as 100. So 0.872 times 90. 78. What was it? 78.48. 78.48. And that was E. And this was an example question because I used it from the wrong exercise. We'll do one more. I'll do F. What do? 8%. I need to decrease by 8%. So I subtract it from 100, 92. 100 minus 8% is 92. Write that as a decimal. 0.92 times, what's the amount? 220 mils. 220. equals, go to your calculator, 0.92 times 220, 202.4, and it's mils. What are you doing? Well, here we go. What are we doing? We are subtracting the percentage from 100, which is a lot harder than adding. You might need to use your calculator. It'd be good if you could do it in your head. Then writing as a decimal, which you need to be good at, and multiplying by the amount. Now, I did all those questions in class, so they're on the board. But the answers are in the back of the book, and if you had trouble, you need to go and do questions 4 and 5, just to make sure you can do them. Increase, add the percent to 100, and then multiply by the decimal. Decrease, 100 minus the percent, and multiply by the resulting decimal. Now also we did question 6. And question 6 is finding the percentage of an amount. The length of a bike race has increased from 800 to 1200. So the increase, and a lot of people just grab this, and I wasn't happy with it, 1200 minus 800. So it's increased by 400. What's that as a percent? Well, 400 out of 800. Remember, a percent, you've got to have something out of something, and times by 100. Well, I already know 400 over 800 is a half, and a half is 0.5 times 100. It's 50%, or half of 100. Question 8, I'm skipping 7, you should do that. The temperature at night decreased from 25 to 18. Wow, 25 minus 18 equals 7. What is that as a percentage decrease? Well, it was 7 out of 25, and I times by 100. Calculator, 7 divided by 25 times 100 is 28% decrease. All right? So you should be able to do 9. And then I said, do questions 11, and as many as you can. You're going to use the unitary method. So let's read the question. After a price increase of 20%, the cost of entry to the museum is $25.80. Find the original price. Oh, so the $25.80 represents 120% because it's gone up 120%. Now remember, in the unitary method, if you can find 1%, you can find any percent. Well, to find 1%, you divide everything by 120. That'll get you 1%. So 25.8 divided by 120. But we don't want 1%, we want 100. We don't even need to find it. We want to find out what 100% was. So we're not going to find the 1%. We know that algorithm would give it to us. It'd be nice if you wanted to go and find that, but we don't need to. What we want to find out is 100%. So we go 25.8 divided by 120 times 100. Now I have to go to my calculator. So 25.8 divided by 120 times 100. 21.5. That's what it was originally. 21.5. What are we talking about here in 11? The cost. $21.50. All right. I'm going to let you have a go at 12. I'm going to do 13, and then I'm going to let you have a go on them on your own. A car decreased in value by 38% to that when it was resold. What was the original price? Well, it's dropped by 38%. Well, 100 minus 38 is 62%. So 62% is what it sold of its original value, and 62% is 9,235. Now, I reckon some people would have had problems with that because they wouldn't have understood the question. A car decreased in value by 38%. So you have to take it off 100. And it became 9,235. What was the original price? Well, if that's 62%, let's use the unitary method. 1% equals 9,235 divided by 65, right? 62. You're just dividing by the 62, both sides. But you don't want what 1% is. You want what it was originally. You want 100% equals 9,235 divided by 62 times 100. And again, you grab your calculator. 9,235 divided by 62 times 100. So originally, the car was 14,895, 14,895.16 Now, if you wanted to find out you were right, you just reduce that 14,895.16 by 38%. Now, I'm going to leave you to do question 20. I'm going to do that in class and see how you go. All right, 19 and 20. Yeah, let me see if you can do those. And good luck. But if you had trouble, at least get up to question 17 and see how you go. All right, good luck.